Toys for Bob has definitely had a very eventful past year, or really the past 5 months. So back in October, obviously you know this, Activision Blizzard was acquired by Microsoft, and Toys for Bob was one of the companies under Activision, so obviously, naturally, they were absorbed in this Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition, but not long after that, about 4 months after that, in February, so just last month, Toys for Bob all of a sudden announced that they were going independent. They were separating themselves from Activision and Microsoft. They were officially going to be their own company. And the response to this was generally positive. It's usually pretty supported by the gaming community when a company decides to go indie, or in other words, just kind of remove themselves from the funding and the directives of their parent company, especially because Toys for Bob is just a great company. Just in the last 10 years, they have worked on a lot of great stuff, notably Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, but also Skylanders, and even they do work on Call of Duty Warzone, and I think they still continue to do work on Warzone. They definitely have their eggs in a lot of baskets, and generally they do things very well. So anyway, with this separation from Xbox, obviously it would seem that they are now just going their own direction entirely, but that might not necessarily be the case. Both Toys for Bob and Microsoft expressed positive messages for each other last month when this sort of separation occurred, and it definitely seemed to signal that, hey, maybe they have some sort of partnership or otherwise some sort of deal that would be a possibility in the future. And it would seem that maybe that possibility is coming to fruition, and that is all thanks to Jez Corden of Windows Central. Funny enough, I actually talked about him in my last video yesterday, where he was talking about the Xbox handheld device, how that might be coming out soon. So according to Jez Corden's sources, and I have seen that he generally has a pretty good reputation of leaks and rumors, so that's definitely good. So yeah, according to his sources, there was recently an Xbox town hall meeting, and this was closed off from the media or any other sources. But during this town hall meeting, one of the top dogs at Xbox, Matt Booty, was asked a question about Toys for Bob, and reportedly he actually said that Xbox and Toys for Bob had recently come to an agreement regarding their new game. He didn't reveal what the game is, but he hinted that the upcoming title would reflect the signature style of Toys for Bob and would be, in other words, sort of reminiscent of some of their recent titles. In my mind, I am obviously thinking Spyro and Crash, so I'm thinking they're talking about a platformer. Now, I know Toys for Bob recently, with the whole indie announcement, they said that they were currently working on their own brand new IP, so maybe what Matt Booty is talking about is this new Toys for Bob game. Maybe Xbox has some sort of a deal or arrangement with them in regard to that new game, but as others pointed out, maybe this is an IP that already exists that is owned by Microsoft, that they have reached an agreement on with Toys for Bob to basically develop it for them. Xbox still owns the Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon IPs, so obviously maybe this could be a sequel to one of those games that Toys for Bob is developing. They obviously have done great work with Spyro and Crash recently. Something else that other people were suggesting that I think is very exciting is that this could also be a new Banjo-Kazooie or Banjo 3E game, or could even be the much anticipated sequel to Conker's Bad Fur Day. So in other words, it could be one of Rareware's two biggest IPs that are platforming games. Obviously, that of course would be totally reminiscent of recent Toys for Bob games. I would definitely love to see something like this. It is very much long overdue that we need another Banjo and Conker game, but I would also be very content with another Spyro or Crash as well. Either way, if these sources by Jez Corden are correct, it sounds like when this new Toys for Bob game releases, they will have some sort of a deal with Xbox on it. Whether that means Toys for Bob is developing an Xbox title for them, or simply that the next Toys for Bob game will, I don't know, be available day one on Xbox Game Pass, that is totally up in the air. But given how good Toys for Bob has been with platformers recently, I really hope they are working on some sort of a new Spyro, Crash, Banjo, or Conker game for Xbox.